To start with our first alert weather day, the tri-state area is feeling the effects of a nor'easter. New York and New Jersey are both under a state of emergency, and today we're getting slammed with bouts of on and off heavy rain, damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour in some places, and coastal flooding. We have a team of reporters covering the nor'easter. Jennifer McLogan is in Freeport as they brace for the storm. Meteorologist Vanessa Murdock is along the Jersey shore. But let's start with Tony Sadiku in the virtual studio with the latest.
Hi, good afternoon, Sanine. As you said, this is multiple hazards that we're tracking associated with this nor'easter, and it's stalled just off our coast. That's why we've been dealing with this for the better part of the last day with sloppy conditions. You can see visibility is impacted. It's been raining off and on. It's rain we could use as you see the rainfall totals. I mean, some of you have seen just impressive numbers. A place like Beach Haven closing in on 3.5 inches since yesterday. Baiting Hollow, you've had your fair share too, almost 3 inches. In Homedale, it's about 2.5. Even in Central Park, 1.5 inches of rain. Beneficial rain, I know it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like a headache. You're trying to navigate through this. Showers, hit or miss across the region. Mostly light to moderate rain, so believe it or not, we've not seen any flood watch warnings or advisories separate from the coast. So it's rain we could handle, but it's certainly leading to ponding issues on the roads as you're trying to get around too. More batches of steady showers approaching sections of Long Island at the moment. So definitely an active radar. We're going to continue to deal with it. This kind of weather, first alert Chevy chopper, not going to fly, that's for sure. But I do want to show you the other impacts we have, and that is for flight. I mean, you got a flight to catch. It's a big disruptions, delays at area airports. That includes LaGuardia, as we've seen delays pretty much the entire morning. They're citing the winds. The winds have been an issue all day long, battering the coastline. Look at these gusts right now. 30 to 40 miles per hour. Wind alerts have been allowed to expire, but still, we're going to deal with those persistent winds. It's going to allow water to pile up along the coastline during this afternoon's high tide. So because of that, yeah, you've got coastal flood alerts. It's the coast that bears the brunt of the storm. 1 to 3 feet of inundation above ground level is likely. Vulnerable coastlines, especially if your area typically floods during exaggerated high tides. If it flooded yesterday, expect it to flood. And be mindful that some roads may be impassable, so you want to avoid those during the day today. It's a first alert weather day. Multiple impacts as we track this nor'easter, another inch, maybe 1.5 inches, especially along the coast. Of course, we're dealing with those gusts too. It's a package deal with this system. Coastal flooding, beach erosion. We've seen already plenty of reports coming in on some trees down, power outages as well. Even though I think we've seen the worst of the wind, Cindy, we still have to be mindful of some of those lingering impacts through tomorrow before we start to see things improve. We'll have much more in your full first alert forecast coming up.
Tony, thank you. Now to breaking news. 2 MTA buses crashed into each other and injured 19 people. It's not yet known if the accident is weather related, but it happened this morning during the stormy commute around 8:30. The MTA says 2 Q27 buses rear-ended each other in Flushing, Queens, near Sanford Avenue and Bound Street. According to FDNY, 1 driver and 18 passengers were hospitalized with minor injuries. No criminality is suspected. We have a crew on the way to the scene, and we'll continue updating you on this breaking story. And let's go out to Long Island now, where residents are contending with a cold and wet day. Jennifer McLogan is live in Babylon with the very latest on conditions there. Jennifer.
Cindy, good afternoon. Winds are here, but lessening. On and off rain and coastal flooding causing isolated damage, but widespread concern for those who live and boat here on Suffolk County's South Shore.
It's really gusty and rainy and not nice. It's helping because I don't want to get wet.
Sharing umbrellas, the Presti family doing best to tackle the elements after driving from Islip to Babylon to enjoy breakfast out at Glenn's Dinette, one of the few spots open here on the South Shore due to weather woes this holiday.
They were a little bit of a later start today, that's for sure. Earlier it was a little quieter, but now it's picked up. I think people get a little tired of being kept inside.
The Argyle Park waterfall flowed from the lake to the canal. Streets closed and monitored along the marina, bracing for the next high tide at 4 p.m. East of here in Bayshore, saltwater inundated Bayshore streets, forcing cars to turn around, jeopardizing businesses. What's the situation for your restaurant now?
We're playing it hour by hour, but it looks like we're going to close for lunch and try to open for dinner.
Excavators were sent to the shoreline and marinas.
Feeling not too bad, a little bit wet, but that's okay. It doesn't really bother me too much. But we got work to do, and I think that's the main important thing is that we're actually, here, still at work, and we don't have to worry about the weather too much.
Ferry service to Fire Island remained closed. The Fire Island water taxis also stopped through Monday. Suffolk's police commissioner says his department also deployed additional marine units with boats waiting in the water. Stormy gale conditions persist. Vulnerable areas near the waterfront and shoreline could have 2 feet of inundation. PSCG Long Island dealing with about 3,000 scattered outages. The LIRR has some minor delays, as does Islip MacArthur Airport. We're live this noon, Babylon Village, Long Island. Jennifer McLogan, CBS News, New York. Cindy, to you.
Jennifer, thank you. And in Nassau County, another high tide is expected in a couple of hours. In Freeport, the canals and bay are 4 feet above normal. Village of Freeport officials are ready with high water Army vehicles in case streets flood. The village recently installed 7 of these pump out stations below the surface of village roads, which stop water from entering streets and pump water back out to the bay.
If we can reduce the nuisance flooding, save people's vehicles and trucks and cars and these stores from being damaged, this is a good thing to do. We're going to move forward on it as soon as possible.
The village has been showing the technology to other Long Island municipalities. Mayor Robert Kennedy says more are coming thanks to a New York State grant. To New Jersey now, coastal flooding a concern there too. Vanessa Murdock live in Manasquan Inlet. And Vanessa, what are you seeing?
All right, Cindy, so the scene is a little bit more interesting than it was an hour ago in the sense that as we watch the waves come over the bulkhead, occasionally they're going beyond where the cars park and all the way out into the middle of the road. We've had to move our gear out of the way a couple of times now. At this point, noon hour, we're an hour and a half away from the official high tide here at Manasquan Inlet. So again, conditions will likely continue to worsen along the inlet front over the next hour and a half or so. Now, as far as the winds go, we're out here with the weather tracker, and we can tell you exactly what the winds are doing, and they're not all that impressive where I'm standing. They're at 6 miles per hour, generally out of the east, although that's not registering at the moment. It was just seconds ago. If you take just several steps, and I'm talking, okay, I wasn't planning on that one, but, maybe an 1/8 mile up toward the ocean front, the winds there are howling far more substantially. Walk over to the ocean front, witness the ferocity of the storm. It gets sandblasted as winds howl beyond 30 miles per hour. In the neighborhood, 2 hours ahead of high tide, salt water already begins to fill side streets. And along the bulkhead, watching waves wash over from the warmth of their dad truck, a dry choice for these 3 siblings. While steps away, sisters make a game out of escaping waves that crash over.
I think they're very cool because I like how the waves are popping up, and I like how they're coming towards us.
Right, and they're splashing over the bulkhead, right? What do you think?
I think it's funny.
It's funny?
Yeah.
I hear you guys laughing a lot. What about just hanging out in the rain and the wind? What do you think about the wind today?
Good.
Good?
I feel like it's a little cold, but I also like how it's refreshing a little.
All right, so we're here at Manasquan Inlet because this acts as a really good dividing line for coastal flooding impacts along the Jersey Shore. Now, there is a coastal flood warning in effect for the entire Jersey Shore until 8 o'clock tonight, but the inlet itself is a line of demarcation in sense. South of the inlet, we're anticipating moderate to major coastal flooding, which could be about 3 feet of water over land, and then from the inlet points north, we expect 1 to 2 feet of inundation. Now, high tide here at the inlet again, about 1:30 this afternoon, but I want to give you the other high tide times around the region so you know when the worst of the coastal flooding should be anticipated. At Barnegat Light, that is very similar to what we have here at Manasquan. It's around 1 o'clock, and Barnegat Light marks the one spot that we can say has the best chance of seeing that major coastal flooding this afternoon. As we move north Up the shore, we're talking Perth Amboy. We're talking about a 2 o'clock high tide, and there it is, minor to moderate coastal flooding. That's 1 to 2 feet over land. Here in Manasquan, we're expecting about 2 feet of water over land. Again, 1:30. We'll be tracking that with the weather tracker. I'm live right now from Manasquan Inlet. Vanessa Murdock, CBS News, New York.
Vanessa, thank you. In Westchester County, the impact of the nor'easter is scattered with pockets of notable damage. Several trees came down on cars in the Residence Park section of New Rochelle, and a large fallen tree is closing busy Webster Avenue. Took down power lines and a transformer, which leaked cooling fluid, requiring cleanup by a hazmat team. Multiple homes are without power. Diane and Gary Flynn told us they're grateful to have a gas stove so they can make tea, and they're keeping flashlights handy as they deal with no electricity. The Department of Buildings is investigating after a deadly accident involving a solar panel on Coney Island. This is the scene today at a parking lot on Ocean Parkway near the entrance to the Ocean Parkway Q train station. DOB inspectors were called there Sunday to investigate reports of a partial collapse of a solar panel installation. Inspectors found a 41 by 87-inch panel had disconnected from a steel carport structure over the lot. According to the DOB, wind blew the panel about 20 feet away, where it hit and killed a pedestrian in a nearby walkway. It is slow going on this morning's commute. Let's get our residual delays for some mass transit and at our airports. Traffic reporter Guy Stanier is here with an update.
That's right, Cindy. We're going to start in East Farmingdale. A car went off the roadway and into the woods on the westbound side of the Southern State at exit 33. Drivers are slowing down to take a look at the scene. In Paterson, New Jersey, a truck went over the divider on Route 80 eastbound near exit 61. 3 lanes are blocked eastbound with a fuel spill and a hazmat crew on scene. We have about a 3-mile delay through the area. For New Jersey Transit, the North Jersey Coast and Atlantic City lines are suspended this morning. The Montclair-Bouton line running with 15-minute delays due to a tree across the tracks near Glen Ridge. System-wide cross-honoring is in effect for rail private carriers, buses, and light rail until the end of the day. And the FAA is reporting 4-hour delays on arrivals at LaGuardia Airport this morning. We also have delays at JFK and Newark Liberty. Definitely check your flight before you head out the door. Alternate side parking is suspended for Columbus Day, but you still have to pay the meters. Cindy, back to you.
All right, Guy, thank you. And checking on those power outages around our area, Jersey Central Power and Light has the most customers affected, with close to 4,200. For PSEG Long Island, it's nearly 4,000. Orange and Rockland County, more than 3,200 customers affected. For PSEG New Jersey, the number's around 1,600. Con Ed has more than 1,000 customers affected. Well, the Columbus Day Parade that was set to march at 5th Avenue today was canceled because of dangerous weather from that nor'easter. Organizers made the decision to cancel overnight after Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency due to dangerous nor'easter conditions, including high winds, heavy rain, and flooding. But organizers say Italian heritage will always be celebrated no matter the weather.
You think about the contribution Italian culture has made to the city and to our country from a cultural perspective. Most families came here with no money, dead broke, can't speak the language, and I think through the values of like family, faith, persistence, hard work, dedication, they were able to literally live the American dream.
The cancellation also disrupted travel plans for groups who came from around the world to participate, and that includes more than 60 visitors from Sicily who shipped traditional horse carriages to the tri-state area just for the parade. Stay with CBS News New York for the very latest on the impacts from this nor'easter. Our meteorologists will be tracking the changes in the weather. You can look for live updates right here on CBS News New York throughout the afternoon.